Hey YouTube. So I quit Facebook today, this morning, which is actually very hard to do, and almost feel like I'm going through like a drug withdrawal. So I figured I'd make a video and explain why I left and why I want to stay off and problems I had, blah blah blah. I've been on Facebook since 2008, and before that, I was on MySpace, I think, since 2006, 2005. So, I mean, I've been on social media for like a fucking decade almost now. And it's pretty crazy how the patterns of how you think and what you're looking for on the internet are so influenced. I mean, if you're on Facebook, you're probably constantly checking the the tab on your browser, the little notification. Oh, did someone comment on something? Did someone like something that I posted? You know, am I getting am I getting approval here? Does someone have something funny to say? Oh, here's an interesting article. I mean, it's like it's like almost like being on a drug, really, like a psychedelic or something, where um, all this stuff is happening, and you're just getting all this stimulus, and to turn that off is just almost like a different thought pattern. I mean, literally just completely different. I mean, your brain is now overwhelmed by silence, and um, because it's just not used to handling that. I mean, literally, I used to spend 80% of my day just looking at Facebook, reading articles, and obviously I'm still an internet junkie. I'm still going to be reading articles and looking at YouTube videos and whatnot. But I mean, the problem with Facebook though is that um, once you get on there and you have a lot of friends and a lot of stuff going on the site, you tend to get like an obligation to sit there and just watch it all develop and maintain um, um, your persona and your the thing that you've set up there. And I definitely felt like that. Like if I would go a couple hours without watching what's going on there, it's like I abandoned you know, my community, and it's really a trip to not be on Facebook. I had about 250 friends on there, a couple dozen that I would communicate with on literally a daily, minutely, hourly basis. And it's very hard going without such easy access to those people. Um, I'm kind of like stepping a decade back into time, where if you want to get in touch with someone, then you need to call them or write them or see them in person. And Facebook does offer you an advantage in that you can kind of casually interact with these people, from the comfort of your own computer. Um, and so that's very convenient. It's kind of super super convenient. So yeah, one of the main reasons that I left Facebook is that I really, really, really do not like the company that runs the site. Um, they've amassed so much money that they're now starting to influence politics in a very greedy and selfish way, and a negative way, in my opinion. Um, I mean, Facebook has billions and billions of dollars at this point because so many of us are on there, and it's sort of taken up a lot of the space on the internet, I guess. Maybe that's not the term. I mean to say that it used to be, before Facebook, you would have different forums you would go on, you would have different websites you would read. Um, And now everything is kind of consolidated into this one big channel, like a television channel that has everything on it, instead of you going to different channels. So really, Facebook is almost like kind of what Google or Yahoo wanted to be, like your portal to the internet. You go here first, and you click on these links, and you look at our ads, and you interact with people here, and this is the centralized place. And I feel that's what's happened with Facebook, because people are starting to abandon web forums that are kind of standalone entities and starting Facebook groups. And you know, if things were to continue, we're going to end up with almost like a monopoly on the internet, where everyone is going to Facebook for everything, and that's truly troublesome for me, because that's not what the internet is about. The internet is designed to be decentralized and designed to be free, and we're at a point where, you know, we risk having almost like a central authority over the internet. So I don't like that. On top of the political stuff that they do, when I started reading about that, I was like, you know, I mean, just by being on here, I'm financially contributing to Facebook. You know, I mean, I can turn the ads off. I've got an ad blocker. I've had an ad blocker on forever. But a lot of my friends are not going to have an ad blocker, and despite me continually pleading, hey, install this fucking thing, it's likely that maybe 10% of them have done it. So yeah, I feel like I'm feeding into this gigantic octopus beast of a website and company when I'm contributing on there. And I do contribute a lot. I do make a lot of content. I actually ran a Facebook group with 2,000 people in it. It was very active. And, you know, I mean, they've made money off me, and I don't want them to make money on me. And I don't want to encourage other people to make money for them, because that's Facebook's model. They sell ads, and then they also go and sell your information to all kinds of companies and the government as well. And okay, so that's another point, right? Facebook and these big centralized sites are great for governments, because they enable the government to have one little place to kind of just see what you're doing at any given time. I mean, Facebook on a mobile phone is going to track your location in addition to everything you say, and almost since so much stuff on the internet is centralized to Facebook, and it not only to the government, they not only have a location on you, but they have what you're interacting with on the internet in this nice little format that they can just go read. And I mean, that's the ultimate tool for government to spy on you and see what you're up to. The more centralized, the better, you know, for them. And I'm not necessarily worried about the government doing anything to me. It's just that I don't want to make their job easier, and I don't want to encourage other people to continue using this centralized service, because that's bad for them. I mean, the more people get on here on Facebook and share their lives and their information and their location on their cell phone, and even, you know, just their IP address, the more access government has to everything we do, and that's kind of freaky. I mean, this is really kind of a Orwellian nightmare in reality. So for me, it's I just don't like giving this company any money, because they're literally politically working against my interest and the interest of the internet in the background. And just okay. So if you don't believe me about that, look up fwd.us. That's Mr. Zuckerberg's little political machine. Look up what Mark Zuckerberg's group is doing politically right now, and you're gonna see a lot of ugly stuff if you start reading about it, and it's gonna disgust you, probably. Most likely, it's gonna disgust you, as it's disgusted me. So yeah. The other thing about Facebook is that we've lost the depth of learning and reading and communicating through there. I think it just has to simply to do with the medium itself, and that it encourages you to share things and like things without actually going through and reading and understanding them. Like, you'll probably notice that people on Facebook will post links that they don't even read just because the title says something they like or is attention grabbing or whatnot. And this is actually really, really bad for the internet as a whole. The internet is an amazing communication medium where it's more interactive than television. You have more freedom of speech. You can talk about things in extreme depth or shallow depth if you want. I mean, it's really important that this medium is meaningful and used in a meaningful way. And I think that on Facebook, you're almost discouraged from using it in a meaningful way. I mean, I know that for myself and for a lot of people, they just want to post things in order to get X amount of likes or whatever, because a like is like oh god, I used that word twice. is basically a quantifiable way of getting approval for doing something. It's like a little attaboy, and so I feel that just the way that it's designed encourages you to post incessantly, and I notice a lot of people doing that and get likes, instead of actually spending time sitting down, reading something, taking it in, and maybe learning something from it, or getting a sense of mind expansion, from seeing something you've never even thought about. I mean, to me, that's what the internet is about. It's about just unlimited information from around the world that can change your life, and hopefully for the better, right? Yeah, and on Facebook, it just encourages you to share a bunch of crap, and I noticed even myself felt like I kind of was doing that, and I kind of dialed it back down to I'm only going to try to share things that mean something. But with everyone else just sharing an endless stream of crap, people aren't in the mindset to get serious like that. So I think Facebook is a bad medium, to be honest. And I would rather spend my time on the internet producing content that is that has depth to it, and kind of like all these people on YouTube, right? Where they will make an hour-long video and they'll plan it out. They'll have even a script, and they'll go interview people, and it's almost like a television show. That's what I would rather spend my time doing, because A, I can reach more people that way, and B, whoever looks at it is going to get a lot more out of it, rather than me just incessantly sharing stuff that no one's going to read. So yeah, I definitely noticed that when I joined social media. The quality of things that I produce dropped dramatically. Like I used to write music, and I used to actually do a little bit of creative writing, and I just haven't done any of that since I've been on Facebook or MySpace, and I feel like that's actually happening in the world right now. Like, we have a higher population than when I was growing up, but it doesn't seem like as many people are putting as much energy into creative works anymore. And I think it's because we're getting all of our approval in the form of likes instead of book sales, video game sales, movie sales, music sales, um, and just um, having our metrics of success based on something other than a number on a computer. Um, so yeah, I think Facebook is something that we should all move away from. Yet at the same time, we still need contact with all of our friends, right? Like I I left 250 people behind. How am I going to stay in touch with those people? And I've also moved from state to state over the years and never really planted down roots. So I don't have a lot of friends in person that I can just call up and say, let's hang out. Um, but I think we would be better off um, if we were to call some of our internet friends, or write letters, or spend some time with them in any way that we can. The most fulfilling thing for me, being part of the electric bicycle community and the libertarian and anarchist community, is actually meeting these people that I met online in person and hanging out with them for substantial amounts of time. I find that super fulfilling and something that was really lacking in my life before. Um, so I feel like this Facebook site and social media in general is kind of a lower grade substitute for something that we really need, and that thing that we really need is contact with like-minded individuals. And if you're into a very niche kind of hobby and mindset like I am, and many others in the community that I'm in, it is very difficult to meet people in real life that are interested in the same thing or even think the same way. Like, I'm here in Utah, right? So if I'm riding along on my electric bike, nobody even knows that it's electric. I mean, it's got this big black thing on the back and wires going through it, but they're just completely clueless. So, good luck striking up a conversation about that, or getting together with some people to ride or build or talk about that stuff, right? So the internet ends up being a replacement for that kind of thing that should really happen locally. But yeah, it's human interaction does does actually, with like-minded individuals, beats the shit out of sharing stuff on Facebook and having this wall of noise going on continuously. And that's the direction I want to head in, even if it means that I'm going to be substantially more lonely. you know so it is what it is, man. I am going to continue going through the shakes, and I got contact information from a lot of people that I talked to on Facebook, and I'm going to use it. And hopefully I can convince some other people to go the same way, and start thinking more along the lines of genuine human interaction rather than likes and shares. Because really, we're not we're not going to come together as a human race and do awesome stuff if we're just sitting in here, on a computer and really not getting anything done other than kind of like practicing kind of a form of mental masturbation. I mean, look, if you ever talk to someone who's successful, gets a lot of cool shit done, you'll notice they're not on Facebook. And if you ask them why, they're going to tell you it sucks down time. And that is the truth. So I hope to be a more productive person. I hope that I can do more interesting things to further liberty and progress towards energy independence and electric vehicles and things of that nature. I hope that this frees up the time to do more of that stuff, which will be more of a benefit to all of you who are watching and elsewhere. And I hope to be one of those people that literally is too busy doing awesome shit that they don't have time for Facebook. I still need my human interaction. I'll come across that in any way I can. I mean, I work from home, so that's difficult. But yeah, that's the goal, and I hope to post up more stuff here on YouTube. I'll still be active on the Endless Sphere forum, even though I've kind of felt like I've built the ultimate electric bicycle and don't have a lot of use for spending a lot of time working on that anymore. So I'm going to hand that torch off to someone else. What I'm going to be focusing on mostly is probably aquaponics, electric cars instead of bikes, and all the other stuff that I talk about doing but can't recall because my mind's so frazzled from Facebook. I'm sure it's definitely Facebook's fault. Yeah, so hey, thanks for watching. I know it's been a long video. Hope you and me get our attention spans back to where they should be. Alright, adios.